Hey everyone, so we are back with another epic adventure today, you guys. Today we are actually at the 96 historical site here in South Carolina. Now, a little bit of history of 96. 96 was actually an old historical town as well. It was originally built for early settlers. At the time that it was being built, they had a lot of run-ins with local Native Americans. To be more precise, the Cherokees actually attacked this land and this town twice in 1760. But also 96 also proved to be a strategical location during the Revolutionary War. Why is that, you guys ask? Well, this was actually the first land battle of the American Revolutionary War that took place here in 1775. So we're going to take a tour of this location, get a little bit more of the feel of the location, get a little bit more of the feel of the history that it holds and the early settlers that was here, and as well as the other settlers or other things that took place. There's an old fort here, Fort Star or Star Fort, that was used during the Revolutionary War. Also, like I was saying earlier, the Cherokees also ran these grounds for the longest time. So this place is not only a battle site, it's also a town, but also a piece of the Native American history here. Now, when I was coming through South Carolina, or going through Georgia into South Carolina to our locations, you'll see a lot of signs that posted on the side of the road of the Cherokee foothills. So they do hold a lot of Native American history out here, as well as the Revolutionary War. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Also check out the Facebook fan page. We're growing there as well on YouTube. Love all the support, love all the new members. Let's keep going, you guys. We're at 82 subscribers. Let's make it 100. One last note, on August 20th we're going to be 1 year anniversary of Adventures with Chris being started. So I'm super excited about that. I'm going to probably do a pretty cool video on my green screen showing you guys a year in review of different clips of sites that I've actually went to. So I'm going to be super excited about doing that for you guys. Going to bring you guys a couple more regiment videos, a couple more great Native American locations. So stay tuned for all the great things that are coming. Also, you guys stay tuned. In September we're going to be tackling a couple of reenactments. So I'm super excited about that. Can't wait. Love you guys so much. And let's begin our journey. Alright, you guys, so right here we have the walking tour of the park of 96. So your guys are actually right here, and we'll continue going through. As you guys seen earlier, we are at the log house. There is the stockade fort, and as we keep on continuing, there's the old town of 96, and then we'll keep going up. There's Star Fort from 1781, and then you have the Patriot stage work as well. So we're going to take a tour of the trails and see what we can come across as we take a journey. Also, just keep an eye out for any of these wonderful creatures as you're walking the trails. And right here is a little bit, follow the paved path to explore a colonial roadbed, Revolutionary War siege works, and the original Star Fort, the site of the early town of 96, the reconstructed stockade fort of 1781. So let's go ahead and begin our journey, and I hope that you guys enjoy the video. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to my channel as well. Love you guys. Talk to you guys again soon. All right, I'm gonna start recording. Okay. All right, yeah, that's Native American. Look at the back. See the feather?
Oh, okay.
Because remember, like I was saying in my early thing, that the town of 96, when it was built, it was used as a early settlers protection, but they were feeling troubled and threatened by the local Native Americans. The tribe that was haunting the place the most was the Cherokee, they actually attacked this area twice.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So right here is a replica that they made from probably some kind of metal of a Native American, more Pacific, the Cherokee. Like I was saying in the introduction, this town was built basically for the protection of early settlers, but at the same time that they were having early settlers come in and be stationed here, they were being threatened by Native Americans and having a lot of trouble with them, and in particular the Cherokee tribe. And the Cherokee tribe actually attacked this area twice. So the Cherokee ran these parts for a long period of time before the early settlers came in. So not only does it have that history, but it also has the ties of the American Revolution, being the first land battle south of New England, and it took place here in 1775. So that is actually pretty cool. Now, as you can see, we're walking on a paved path, taking us through the historical site here at 96. We'll also be able to see the old historical town of 96, as well as the old star fort, the stockade, the old Patriots siege works. So this place holds so much history. If you guys are ever in the area, come by, check this place out. It's a great place, filled with great history. About an hour away from where we are today, if you guys drive an hour an hour west, you guys will actually get into Augusta, Georgia, where the other battle of Kettle Creek, which was another Revolutionary War battle that took place. That was also an American victory. So if you guys are ever in Augusta area or Washington, Georgia area, go check that battlefield out as well. It's a pretty unique little battlefield. Also in Augusta, there is one of the patriots that is actually buried there. His name is John Martin. So he's a well-known patriot that fought in the American Revolutionary War. So that's a pretty cool and interesting little fact. So we're gonna tackle as much Revolutionary War sites as we can throughout our time, but we are planning on moving to Savannah so we can tackle more of the South Carolina sites of the Revolutionary War, because South Carolina had at least 47 battles and sieges of the Revolutionary War. So it's packed with a lot of history, as well as Native American history. So stay tuned for all that great adventure coming up. Also, like I was saying earlier, the reenactments that are coming up. So we are packed full with excitement and great content coming to you guys. But we're going to continue on through our journey and see what the rest of this site has to offer.
This is so pretty.
It is pretty out here.
She is like hype today.
She got that. She got sleep.
Yeah, she got some good sleep last night. What do those little hot dogs have in them? Sugar?
I don't know.
This is like sugar packed in a treat for a dog.
You would think.
Good gracious. She is on the run today. Jennifer, calm down, doggy.
You have the keys, right?
I do, they're right there.
Okay.
Calm down, Nick.
She wants to go.
She wouldn't like this yesterday, the other one. Today she's like, ooh. Oh.
Well, I think she's starting to kind of get used to.
Get used to us?
Getting used to not only us, but exploring. She likes this whole going outside.
Over here. She likes to explore.
Well, you got to think about it. That's probably why she has so much energy and she doesn't go to sleep at night. Because she hasn't really went out. But now that she's getting out, like tonight, she's going to probably sleep well.
Last night, Jennifer, you've got to calm down. I'm going to love you. Calm down.
Yes, you guys. So we have another member with us on the team. So we have a part-time member. We got a little four-legged friend. So she's joining us on our trips as well. She's a cute little puppy. So we're working her. We're working her out. She's a fun little dog to have around and as well. But we're coming up on our first plaque. This is the environmental change from forest to park. So right here talks about pre-settlement. This region is home to many American Indian groups, including the Sadois, Wadatis, Kangarees, who hunt nearby. And then it also has the 1730s, the 1750s, 1780s, 1850s, 1960s, and 1970s to present. So this is a pretty cool piece of history that we get to see right here. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys this plaque and what I was saying earlier. As you can see right here, gives you a little bit of information of the town itself and the years leading up to when it became abandoned. So as it sees right here, it keeps talking about the Cherokee. So, and then right here in 1780, 96 was occupied by Loyalists. So this is where it's starting to begin. Then there's your present. So today you have animals like deers, raccoons, rabbits, squirrels, etc. And then that's a picture of what the town looked like at the time. So that's a pretty cool little picture to give you guys a better view of the historical site here at 96. As you guys see, we're getting ready to walk across the historical spring branch. So that creek's dried up too.
Yeah. That's where
There's
they got
a
their water
spider
from?
web.
Yeah.
I want there's no rocks here.
Huh?
Why there's no rocks here?
I don't know, baby.
Now I can't have no more new rocks.
It'll be alright.
That's not alright. Go ahead and take some eggs here to get ready.
Just start sleigh dogs.
Maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna pick you up right now. You want to
She's full of energy today.
Dirty.
Huh?
Why do you
I'm pretty sure. So how do you like it?
We love it.
Here's the little friend that we were talking about.
Say hello. I'm dirty as ever. I'm out in South Carolina having a good old time.
I'm pretty sure we're all going to need a bath.
Yeah. This is nice though. It's pretty.
It's peaceful out here.
Yeah. Smog free too. That's what I like right here. It's nice and breathe.
Almost every place that we went and filmed has been like that.
Yeah. It's like fresh, clean air.
You're higher. Hey, you're getting high.
Yeah.
High and high and high and high and high. Don't step in the way. Okay then.
Hey, baby. When we reach the next site, I might have you grab the camera so I can talk about it.
Two of them.
You know?
Over here?
Yeah.
There.
Oh, look. That's probably one of those early settlers.
There's a horse on me.
Either that or a revolution. But I think it's an early settler, because if you look right there, he's like holding a stick. Yeah, a trader with a pack horse. So, right here, the roads and paths allowed trade between the Cherokee and early traders. In 1753, Robert Goodin set up the first permanent trading post at Old 96. Many road traces can still be seen today.
Oh. This is one of them right here?
Probably. Yeah, he was trading with the Cherokee. Remember when we were at Fort Loudon? Remember how they were starting to trade with the Cherokee until like the early some of the settlers killed one of the Cherokee? Well, then that's when the Cherokee said, okay, well, now that you want to kill one of us, we're going to bring up what they called the Cherokee blood law, which means that they believe that if you take a life of ours, we can take a life of yours.
Oh wow.
So that's why they ended up killing several settlers out of Virginia and another state as well, which eventually created a war between the British and the Cherokee.
Oh, okay.
But there for the longest time they were very connected and working with one another until one. I see it, baby. We're gonna go around, and that's why I remember when that one Native American in that video was always talking to the loyalist, because he was considered the Cherokee peacemaker. But at the time after that Cherokee member was killed, coming home, they wanted to throw that guy out.
Yeah.
They didn't want no peace. They basically said blood for a blood. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to sit there and waste time talking.
Yeah.
But eventually it came to find out that they needed this guy because they couldn't continue spilling blood because they knew that they needed the British, because they were working with the British because the British built that fort to protect their women while they were in battle.
Yeah, okay.
So it's kind of like a whole, like, you know, tight situation to be in, you know, like you want to get back but you can't, you know.
Yeah.
So right here, you guys, we came across another plaque. It is the Island Ford Road. This was a colonial route to the Black Country. The earliest roads in 96 were Indian trails used for travel by foot and horse for hunting. White settlers followed these trails to explore the countryside, trade, and eventually to settle. As the stream of settlers into the region increased, better roads were required to transport supplies safely and easily. The historical roadbed before you, the Island Ford Road, was an important traveler's route from places east and north of 96. Years of heavy use and erosion caused the roads sink in appearance. A ferry was established at Island Ford, a shallow crossing of the Sadu River, as early as 1775. So right here is a map to kind of give you an idea of some of the roads that they may have traveled on. Like right here, here's the map key. The purple is the Island Ford Road. So you go right here, there's the Island Ford Road, and then the path to Creek Nation. Creek Nation is right here. If you guys are not familiar, Creek Nation is actually another Native American group. There's the Cherokee path. So they've traveled right about here. And then road from Augusta, Georgia to Fredericksburg is the orange one. So there it is right there. And then you have the road from 96 to Augusta. Come here, babe.
Huh?
Look, babe, right here. Road from 96 to Augusta is right here. Augusta, Georgia.
Oh,
And then this dark orange one is the road from Augusta, Georgia to Fredericksburg. And then see, there's the path of the Creek Nation, which is another Indian tribe. They were all alongside the Appalachian.
we got a lot to do.
Hush.
You know?
Yeah. So the island, Ford Island Road is somewhere right around here that they traveled on. But like I was reading earlier, is they had a lot of erosion that happened that damaged the road, and eventually it was sinking over the time.
Oh.
So, and then we'll be over there in a second.
You're not a sleigh dog.
All right, you guys, so we're coming up on another plaque from May 21st to 22nd, 1781. The Patriot force arrives. After a series of disastrous defeats in South Carolina, George Washington, head of the Continental Army, took action. He named General Nathaniel Greene to command Patriot forces in the South. In December 1780, Greene drove into the backcountry, hoping to take key Loyalist strongholds like 96. By May 22nd, 1781, Greene's troops descended on these grounds from the Island Ford Road in the rainy darkness. Soaked to the skin by a heavy spring rain, they toted heavy artillery, supplies, and tools. The troops consisted of Continental Army soldiers from Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia, and North Carolina militia. These force of almost 1,000 split and fanned out around the town, converging on it from two directions to seal off access to food, water, and reinforcements. So that kind of gives you a little bit of backstory of when the Patriots eventually arrived here at 96 to take over the Loyalists that was already stationed here. Try to give some turning points in the war and give the Patriots a little bit more of security of being able to secure a victory, let alone a win in the war for their independence. Now, the place that we was at yesterday, that was actually considered a turning point of the American Revolution. So that's one of those places that was actually very special to be able to go to. We are coming up to another spot as well. So there's a lot of different things here at this park to be able to read to you guys. Like right here, from May 22nd to June 18th, 1781, the Patriots lay siege to the Star Fort. So this kind of gives you a little bit more information of the fort itself and how the Patriots laid out a siege on the fort itself. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys this plaque and show you guys a little bit more history. This fort was actually attacked. The general in charge of the Patriots at the time was General Nathaniel Greene, and it was May 23rd, 1781. So right here, there is the fort that we're going to see. There is the village of 96. There's the old jail. There's the rifle tower. This siege works. But right here is some of the information.
Daddy, look, I found a big rock.
Alright, you guys, so that gives you a little bit more history of the fort and Nathaniel Greene's attack on the fort and trying to secure a victory with the Patriots here at 96. And here's another one, a better view of the whole map. But then you can kind of just look out here and just kind of see the view. Like right over there, there's the rifle tower that we were saying earlier. There's a Patriot replica where he may have stand with his gun. There's a couple of cannons out there as well that we're going to take a tour and take a look at as well. And then the old town itself is a little bit back that way, as well as the old jail that was here at 96. So stay tuned for all the great adventures that are coming through this journey. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. These trips that we get to go on and these sites that we get to see are very great trips and hold so much history. And I love being out here, not only to see the history, but also to see these towns and just wanting to know what kind of history is actually brought here, the battles that may have took place here. It's just fascinating to know all this stuff, who founded these towns. So it's just really an honor and a privilege to be able to do the things that I get to do. But like right here, there's a little thing that's talking about the artillery. On June 1st, 1781, once a parallel was dug, troops could move artillery forward and place cannon in position to batter the enemy garrison. Green 6-pounders, guns firing 6-pounder cannonballs were placed on wooden platforms that sat on earth fortifications about 20 feet high and allowed artillerists to fire directly into the Star Fort. These guns were manned by specially trained crews. So there is a idea of a patriot and his artillery right before he fired upon the fort where the loyalists were actually stationed. So that is actually pretty cool. And then we'll continue walking through the path and just kind of get a better understanding of it as well. Like right here, there's another one. You see that, babe? That's one of the Patriots when they had stationed with the cannon right before they fired on the fort. All right, you guys, so right here on June 2nd, 1781, approach trenches called saps connected one parallel to the next. These angled ditches allowed troops to move toward the fort without taking direct fire from the enemy. Sappers or laborers who dug these trenches broke through the hard red soil, sometimes with only candlelight to guide them. Dangerous musket volleys often cost them their lives. So that just gives you a little bit of history. There's a little picture of them creating these trenches. So we're going to go ahead and continue walking and then seeing what we have in store throughout the rest of the way. I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing the old town as well. If you guys ever seen my video of me out there at Fort Blakely, not only was that a battlefield, but it was an old town as well. So if you guys haven't seen that video as well, check that video out as well. I'll even put the trailer of that video on my Facebook so you guys can kind of get an idea of what it may look like, and then you guys can click the link and watch the full video. As well as watching the full video, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. I'm always packed with a lot of great content, great information coming your guys' way. Once again, I do appreciate all the support that I'm getting through you guys. You guys are a great team, great supporters. But right here we have a second parallel that took place on June 3rd, 1781. By June 3rd, the sappers had finished the approach trench and established a second parallel. Now that he was signed in position to attack Kruger's stronghold, Greene is keeping with the unique of siege warfare, made a formal demand for the Loyalists' surrender, but Kruger saw no need to comply with Greene's demand. The Loyalist casualties so far were light, and they had enough food stored away for another month. So that is the second parallel. Alright, you guys, so we are coming up to one of the cannons here at 96, as you can see. Yep, right there. There's a sign that says artillery battery. So those cannons look a lot different from the ones in Civil War.
Yeah, they do.
Look a little more aggressive, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Alright, you guys, so right here in front of me is the rifle tower. In a single night, June 13th, a 30-foot tower made of interlocking logs were erected under Kukulo's supervision. From the wooden platform, marksmen could aim down into the fort. The Loyalists responded to this threat by making the walls nearly 3 feet higher with sandbags. The Loyalists tried unsuccessfully to burn down the fort by firing heated cannonballs. So there's how it stood, and then there's the fort right behind it. So they were constantly just going after one another and just seeing. So right here, you guys, straight ahead, if you guys see that little sign, that's a mine entry site. So that is where they had an entry site for the mine. So that's pretty cool. Probably right there where the ropes are would be the mine. Yeah, right here. So right here, beginning June 9th, 1781, the mine. We shall be in the ditch of the enemy's work by tomorrow night or early morning, and the powder is wanting to blow up the works. I beg you will send the powder the moment this reaches you. And this was said by General Nathaniel Greene to Andrew Pickens on June 11th, 1781. So there is the original markings of the digging. Original marks of digging tools are still visible on the walls of Kuka military mine. So right there, and here is the men digging. Then it would go into the fort where they can attack. So they had a mine right here. Because there's the fort, there's Star Fort right there.
Yeah.
See?
Crawling underneath the ground? From right here all the way under?
Yeah, see?
Wow. What, to get to them?
To get on the other side of that fort. Sneak up on them.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, they're pulling underneath them?
Yeah. Surprise attack. Alright, you guys, so we are coming up on another plaque. This one is June 18th, 1781. The Forlorn Hope. This is having established the third parallel and dug a mine. The Patriot troops were exhausted. Promised reinforcements from Virginia militia failed to arrive. A frustrated Greene wrote to Congress, "Our poor fellows are worn out with fidget, being constantly on duty every other day and sometimes every day. Circumstances forced Greene to make a difficult choice. News arrived that Lord Walden's 2,000 troops were headed to 96 to relieve Kruger. The construction of the siege works did not go as quickly as Greene had hoped. He was not yet in a position to breach the Star Fort, and his tired troops would be no match for Walden. Spared by his officers and men to storm the fort before Walden's arrival rather than give up the siege, Greene agreed to an assault. 50 men volunteered to lead the charge. This brave group, called the Forlorn Hope, surged from the trenches at noon on June 18, 1781. So that is them volunteering to lead. So these men volunteered to lead the trenches and attack the fort and the British that was stationed at Fort Star, or Star Fort, and attack them before the reinforcements got there. So these men were considered very brave and very patriotic. And that attack took place in 1781. So that is actually pretty crazy to only have, I think it was like 50 men that volunteered in that services. But you know, sometimes you got to do what you have to do in those times. And a lot of these men were tired and had already endured a lot of things, let alone being able to sleep much, because they were constantly marching and walking around, getting to these battle sites and setting up camp and getting ready for battle. And so they never really had time to rest. So these men were extremely exhausted, and they basically was just giving what they had left. There wasn't much left, but they were giving whatever they did have left to help secure a victory for the American forces that was here fighting the British, to try to get a turning point in the war and kind of give them that little boost of confidence that they can take on the British and their strong army to eventually secure their independence from Britain, which they were successful. So you know, that's always a good thing to know, and being able to study these things and go to these places and just kind of feel those kind of vibes is always a great thing as well. Like right here, we're coming up on the Star Fort itself. It's one of those earth fortifications. So it's kind of like one of those Civil War forts that was made by fortification of, you know, grass, dirt, and whatever else. But here's a little bit more, once again, of the fort. Alright, we're going to take a little walk inside the fort. Okay, so here I am in Star Fort. This was where the men of the British was actually camped at. And then straight ahead from my location, right there off in the distance, I'll zoom in so you guys can see it, but right there off in the distance would be the Patriot rifle tower. And these men would be sniping, would be marksmen, and they were sniping British soldiers that was stationed in this fort. So that is actually a pretty cool thing to be able to know. But as you can see, right here is a hole that may have been attached to that mine that was dug by the Patriots. So that led them to this location. No, wait. Okay, so this was actually a well. Waters was critical to the survival of the men confined to the Star Fort, but the town's only water source, Spring Branch, lie well beyond its wall and within range of Patriot fire. Kruger hoped to remedy this dire situation by digging a well inside the fort, but at 25 feet no water was found and the effort was abandoned. So they dug right there. They dug 25 feet in search of a well to give these men some water, to have them be able to survive in this fort and be able to have something to drink during this battle. Now, after digging about 25 feet, the effort was considered a failure, and there was no water that was found. So these men were struggling to find ways to drink and have something to drink as well during those long battles and heated battles, or the heated day. So a lot of these men were fighting not only to survive these battles, but also survive with little or no food, little or no water. So these men endured a lot of troubling times during these conflicts, not only in the American Revolution, but some of these same things was going on during the Civil War. So a lot of troubling things went on through the years as America was continuing developing. We were trying to get our independence from Britain. So we were just going through so much things, going as far back as the 1700s, and probably even earlier than that, when we were in the war, the French and Indian War. So it's just a lot of things were going on during those times. Now right in front of me there is the communication trench. I'll zoom in so you guys can see that as well. And then right here we have 1781, a covered way. The trench that ran here from the fort to the stockade town was not actually covered, but used for cover. It was the route for official couriers, loyalists, relief troops, and slaves who risked Patriot fire to bring water from Spring Branch to the Star Fort, with walls only 3 feet high that had to crouch low to get through the passage unarmed. So that is a little bit on that as well. And then right in front of me, I believe, is we're going to be, so I think I'm going to break this into 2 videos. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I think what I'm going to do is do one video of the American Revolution side of it, and then the second video will be the town of 96. Just kind of break it up a little bit, not make the video so long, but I try to make it as enjoyable as I can, but I also know that I can't make it as long to keep you guys engaged with the content, because there is so much to offer at these places, especially when you go to these historical sites that may not only have had battles, but also was a town as well. So it packs so much history. So you have to try to cut and add all the important pieces together to make a suspenseful video to keep your audience engaged. And that's what I try to do in each and every video that I do create, because I know that I have a lot of great content that does come out, but I also want to make it fun and entertaining to engage the audience as well. So with that being said, we're going to continue going forward, just like we're coming up to the old 96. So this was a colonial center in a time of change, and this was 1775. The conversion of roads at 96 ensured its successful as a hub of commerce, center for law and order, and haven for settlers in colonial times. In 1775, the village had a dozen dwellings, a jail, and most importantly, a courthouse, making a seat of power in the area. Residents includes blacksmiths, coopers, carpenters, and field hands and slaves. While the 1775 population is not known, a record shows 79 males living here by 1776. American colonists, recent immigrants from Europe, and slaves were among the residents. Cherokee traded here. The land was cleared for crops and animals grazed freely. Water from nearby Spring Branch was plentiful. It was remote and often dangerous in the surrounding wilderness, but inhabitants of 96 achieved a fragile peace in the back country that was changed with the Revolutionary War. In Charleston, Patriot supporters formed an independent government on September 15th, 1775. A royal governor of South Carolina, colonial, fled to a British warship in Charleston Harbor, leaving the colony in the hands of the Americans. Confused and concerned by these events, backcountry residents split between those remaining loyal to the king and those siding with the Patriots. In 96, William Henry Dayton, a representative from the new government, successfully converted the townspeople to the Patriot cause, fortified the jail, and sent militia out to contain the loyalist threat. But the town was too small to accommodate the garrison, and Williams Fort was built nearby. Alright, so we are getting ready to tackle the town of 96, so that's going to be in the next video. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Love you guys, and talk to you guys again soon.